Welcome. Meeting you're in never ends. All right, well, glad to just have you in chat whenever you do whenever you are able to join. Had my thing open. There we go. All right. Good evening and hello. I'm glad to have you here. Let me know if you can hear me. I didn't actually mess with my audio settings or anything. All right. It is officially halfway through NaNoWriMo, and I'm a little freaking out about it because, oh good, you can hear me. Good. Let's see. So to anyone who has not been here than my previous streams this month, I am completely pantsing it this year, and that is very new for me. Normally I have some sort of idea of what I'm writing, and like last time I did NaNoWriMo was in 2020, and I had a full outline, like I had every single chapter planned out basically. And this year I am I sat down on October 31st at like 11:59 getting ready to write at midnight with no plan, no characters, no plot, nothing. And I had to just make it up as I went. And that is scary when you're used to plotting and having a plan and knowing where your story's going. It's like every time you sit down, it's just like, oh man, are words gonna come today? Like, am I gonna come up with anything? But I end up coming up with stuff. So hoping that continues. Hello, just sitting down to write for the day, trying for 1667 words. Same. I have not gotten any words today. At the start of Nano, I was writing in the afternoons, and because I had 3 weeks off of work because I was like recovering from surgery, just went back to work this week, so now I'm having to write in the evenings, and it's throwing me off. But yeah, I'm trying to get the badge of writing 1667 every single day. So far, I'm on track, but not pantsing, discovery writing. Surprised that you made it this far? Yes, halfway. It's so crazy. Discovery writing yet. Had a rough outline in your head, but just exploring things with this draft. See, I normally have some sort of idea. Like, I've definitely done, like, less planning in the past, especially, like, when I was in high school. That's pretty much how I did all of my writing, because that was really before I knew what NaNoWriMo was. I would just suddenly be inspired to write a story and just start writing it immediately. I would have some scene in mind, and it would usually be in the middle of the book. And then I'd write all of the scenes that I was excited about and then start back from the beginning. But yeah, I don't know. I never like sat down to write a story without having the story first. Stephen King. Interesting. I'm curious though, like how much he had an idea of what he's writing before like starting. I don't know. But anyway, I have, let's see, currently in my project, I am at 24,003 words. I've got to get another little under 1,000 words to get to today's goal, just to be on track. But I'm going to be writing over that so I can get to the 1667. And then I set my reward for myself. I always set like periodic rewards for different word counts. So like my 10K goal was what was the 10K goal was I got to buy the participant shirt, which I have on now because I really like it this year, so it's got a cat on it. But what was my 5K goal reward? I had something that I did, and I'm sure it was a great time, but I don't remember what it was now. But my 25K is I'm gonna get myself a massage because I really need one. Let's see. It's like driving at night in the fog. You can see as far as your headlights, but you can make the whole trip that way. That is true. That is very much how I'm feeling. Every night I sit down to write and I come up with uh, just enough words to get through the day. And then I think, well, I have to give up for tonight. And then I have no idea how I'm going to come up with words tomorrow. And then I sit down the next day and the same thing happens. And I just get that much more done. Oh no. No. Don't have COVID. Don't have the panini. Oh, just reading in bed. Well, it's okay to take a break sometimes. Forget that you can give yourself rewards. One year I had like a full bullet journal with a ton of different rewards set for myself. I'm trying to remember what they all were. Like one of them I remember was going into Barnes and Noble and trying to find like where my name would be on the shelf. Like where would my book be if I finished it and like published it. And that in my head was a much bigger reward than it turned out to be, because when I got there I realized, well, I don't actually know what genre this, like where this would be in the library or the bookstore, because like it's kind of split up by genre more than just by name. And then I got distracted looking at books, so then my actual reward ended up being buying myself a book. So but it worked. I thought it was strep, went to the doc and everything came back negative, but test again in 2 days. Well, I hope you feel better, and I hope it's not COVID. Or if it is, that you have a really mild case that just seems like a cold, because that's what a lot of people are getting now, is a much less severe version of it. My mom just had it, and I know my whole family really just had it, other than me, because now I'm on the other side of the country, so I am safe from them. But yeah, that's sad. I do, however, have a cough because asthma and allergies are atrocious right now. And I'm still trying to figure out my allergy med situation because that is not fun. All right, so saying she had all these patients come in saying they think it's strep, but then it's the new COVID strain. That's no fun. Okay, well, hopefully you're doing better by Thanksgiving, because that would be no fun to be sick on Thanksgiving. I just got an email about Thanksgiving. We're going to some family, and apparently we have to come up with a game that 10 people can play. And my husband and I both make board games and like card games, but it generally takes us like a few months to come up with a game and like make it playable. And we just got this email last week, or not even last week, just a few days ago, saying, hey, since you guys both make games, how about you make a game that we can play? It's like, we have a week. That's a little much to expect, but I can try. All right. I don't know this game. How do you play werewolf? Unless that's just like playing mermaids, where you just pretend to be a mermaid. So you just, let's play werewolf. But I'm sure you mean an actual game. That'd be really funny though, if I just go to Thanksgiving and tell everybody we're just playing werewolves and chase each other around. I'm sure Grandpa would love that. Okay. I should probably get a sprint set up here soon. At some point this evening, my friend Heidi's going to be joining me. She had something to do before this, so she was going to jump in whenever she was free. But until then, I guess we can get set up with a sprint. I'm going to do 25 minutes. Oh, okay, yeah. I have played it as, I've called it Mafia, and I've heard it called Assassin. So, yeah, I do know that game. Yeah, just need the deck of card to assign roles. I feel like that could be good, except that I'm trying to picture the grandparents trying to play that, and it might be a little confusing, but we'll keep that in mind. We also have as a backup plan 10-minute stories, just because that's something that I played with Steven recently, so he um he suggested we have that just like as a fallback plan if we don't come up with anything else. Well, also, Q, you'll love this. We're having a karaoke night apparently for Thanksgiving, and they want us to prepare songs. I have no idea what to prepare. Like, I know I want to do something Broadway, but no idea yet. And it's got to be on like the Cara Fun system or whatever, because that's what they have. Yes, I am excited for the karaoke. But also, it's like my first time singing for this side of the family. Like, side of the family has heard me sing before, like, all growing up, but I've never sang anything for these guys, so I'm like a little intimidated, not intimidating. Hello and welcome. I'm gonna be reading tonight. That is great. I am just about ready to set up a sprint here for 25 minutes. Yeah, Q is also reading. Okay. Let's add timer to the stage. And we will get started. Oops. In 3, 2, 1, go. And welcome back. Time is up. How did everybody do? I got, let's see, 378 words. Sort of a slow start. I had to figure out where I was starting. I had a lot of, I have a lot of like disjointed scenes that I've written, and I'm now going back through and trying to connect them and add transitions and, you know, fill in the blanks. So I was kind of trying to find little blanks to fill in. So I filled in a couple of those, but haven't really gotten to like a big section of writing yet. All right. Last I had seen. Okay. May actually film a video. That's pretty cool. What's your video about? And then I want to get through my physical TBR. 319 words. Nice. Finished your graphic novel volume. Sweet. Hello, Palabuni. All right. Ugh. Trying to make my brain focus is super fun. My work is on like an accelerated schedule right now because of Thanksgiving next week. So I got all of my work for this week assigned to me on Monday. And then on Tuesday or Wednesday, I was told that all of my work for next week, which normally wouldn't be available until like Friday, is already available to do because it's going to have to be done way early. So I've just been like going crazy trying to get 2 weeks worth of stuff done in like 3 days. So, woo, that's been fun. 497, very nice. And my current work in progress, a little bit of a train wreck right now, but we'll see how it ends up. The main premise is is because I didn't have a plan and went into it totally just blind. It ended up being about a girl doing NaNoWriMo, so it's very like meta. Um, so yeah, she's doing NaNoWriMo, but then the twist is the things that she's writing in her story start to happen in real life. So she's got some sort of control over the people around her, only it doesn't ever happen the way she writes it. So it always happens to like different people than she expects. And it's kind of like what's the show? That's a Raven. Is that the one that had the seeing the future one? How she'll like see it and think she knows what it is, but then it's actually something else happens and to get to that point. And so that's kind of like what she's doing is she's writing these things thinking like, "Oh, I'll find $1 million, I'll get this rich boyfriend," or all of these things. But then everything that she writes happens a slightly different way to like different people, and it causes a lot of drama. And I don't have a whole lot planned other than that, but that's the basic premise I'm running with right now. Um, let's see. Yes, it is. That's a Raven. Cool. So yeah, I do not have a working title yet. I can't even make myself think about that just because I don't know the scope of the story yet. Like I'm not sure where this ends up. I don't know how into like the lore of like this magic or whatever is I'm getting into. I have not figured out yet like what are the rules of this? Like is it she has some magic power that she writes things and they come to life? Is it her laptop? Is it just some random phenomenon because it's NaNoWriMo? Is it, you know, is it all just a coincidence and there's nothing magical happening anyway? Like, I still have no idea what direction I'm taking it yet. I do want to figure that out at some point soon, though, because, like, the direction of the story is really going to depend on, like, her personal, like, character, like, growth and her arc is, very based on how she's sort of at the beginning of the story in this sort of, like, not quite agoraphobic, but she really doesn't do anything. She's in sort of a depression. She just kind of lives out her days one after the other, like they all just everything is the same. One day blurs into the next. And she's like complaining to herself that like nothing interesting ever happens to her, but like all of her friends and her family members keep having all these exciting things happen. And so when she starts this as like somebody challenges her to do NaNoWriMo, she picks up an old hobby that she had in high school and she wants to start writing. But the problem is, if I have this be some issue where like she inherently will always be able to control the people around her when she writes, then at some point she's just not going to want to write anymore because it's too uncertain, like unstable of I don't know what word I'm actually looking for there, but like it's kind of dangerous to mess around with what's happening to people. And I don't really want her to give up writing because that's sort of like the character arc I want to bring her back to doing her hobbies and like trying to do things for herself and not just waiting for things to happen to her, if that makes sense. So, still trying to play around with that. I have no idea if that made any sense at all. I'm just saying words at this point. It's only 8:45 here. It literally feels like it's 11 because it's so dark outside. And my brain sees the dark and decides, well, time to turn off now. So what's everybody else working on? Let's see. Trying to decide if I want to get myself some tea. I did 45 there too. Yeah. There's so many times I'm so distracted. My husband is streaming in the other room and he's like playing games and doing voices for all the characters. And so every once in a while I just hear him talking in a funny voice and it's hard to take him seriously. 19. I don't know military time. I would have to count on my fingers to figure out what time that means. Makes sense. I like the idea lots. Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, it does feel. It just I don't know. I'm ready for what's it called? Daylight savings time to like not exist anymore and to just have not, you know, words. I'm so bad at coming up with words. I don't know what it is. I feel like it's just brain fog. I want to say it's like fibro fog because now that I know that I have fibromyalgia, I know that that's like a common symptom is the brain fog. So it makes it really hard for me to like come up with um, words that I'm looking for. Subtract 12. Yes, but that's math. It's then I have to do math. 7:45. There we go. Yeah. See, if I wasn't sleepy and had all of my brain capacity, then I could do math, but I don't right now. I have to save all of my brain for writing. So any minute now, probably, Heidi will be jumping in. I don't know what time she was planning on joining us, but I can set us up for another sprint. I will probably take the first part of this next sprint and grab myself some tea, because the more I think about it, the more I think I actually do want it. And maybe Heidi will join us after the next sprint. So, mother called, and you're back. Well, welcome back. All right. So I'm going to set up for another sprint while we wait for Heidi. I hate that YouTube doesn't want to like stay loaded for me. Every time I try to like restart this timer, it always jumps back to like it's needing to load as if it had never loaded. I'm like, literally, you just did the whole video like you were fine, but okay, be dramatic. Yes, dehydrate. All right, thank you for stopping by. Have a good night. Okay, let's start this next sprint. In 3, 2, 1. And time is up.
Hello.
Hello, Heidi.
How's the writing going?
It's a little rough today, but I'm getting there.
It's
I had a
good.
lot of scenes where I like skipped around and then I'm just now going through and connecting them. So I'm kind of getting just like spurts of little bits of words here and there. Oops, let me turn this off. Oh, I just saw that you messaged me.
That's good. You're focused there. Yeah, I'm kind of stumped myself. I'm only just now getting started, and I had to send my characters on an epic journey, and then I realized because I didn't plan before NaNoWriMo, I have no place names, I don't have geography in mind, so I'm gonna have to wing the whole thing.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. Um, words are not coming easily to me today, so I'm kind of bleh. In real life as well as on the page. If I was just saying earlier, it feels so much later than it is. So I just feels like it's almost midnight and I am so tired, but I
I
need to
feel
write.
this is a big day though. Like, doesn't this take us to the halfway point once we complete?
It does. This is the midpoint of NaNoWriMo, and I will be getting to 25K today.
It's the make or break, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And finished another volume. Concludes this three-part series. Awesome. What were you
Nice.
reading? Ugh. Ugh. So yeah, yesterday a lot of my words ended up being so a little bit cheaty, I guess. I went through and because this is taking place during NaNoWriMo, I realized I should probably figure out like a timeline of generally when things are happening and figure out because then I'm also gonna have to include like Thanksgiving in there and a bunch of other stuff. So that gave me some content to work with. But then I thought, well, maybe I'll just go back to all of the days that I'd or all of the scenes that I'd written before and decide like what day of NaNoWriMo they happened on. And so I started like putting dates in front of all the scenes. So that added like several words for all of the because I would put like Friday, November, whatever. And so that would like add 3 words to every scene. And then I went through and I'm like, okay, so that's the day that they're on. Maybe what I'll also do is find the word count for each day that they're supposed to hit and put that on there as well. And so now I have like headers next to all of my um scenes that have the date and the word count that they're supposed to be at. So it'll be easier to keep track of, which it already has been helping because now I can go through and be like, oh wow, this day is like this long. I probably should write more. And
Good.
then yeah.
Yeah, as far as ooh, 50 words to go. Not bad. As far as timeline, I took the save the cat method and just very, very vaguely outlined it. And I'm realizing now I think I did part of it wrong because
Oh no.
I got to a really big climax sort of thing, and then she was supposed to. Let's see, I'll have to figure out where I am in this. So I was on the point that says, let's see, the midpoint, and then they're supposed to be the bad guys close in as 50% to 75% of the book. And I realized that I don't know. I'm not sure how they're going to close in because, like, technically, right now, my main character is running away. So I guess they could the bad guys can follow her. I didn't really plan that part out. She's supposed to be
Yeah.
like as far away as possible. Jonah moment where she's as far away as possible from her problems.
So maybe because this is like a a thing that I'm trying to fix in my writing is that I tend to write a lot about things happening to my character and not enough about my character making decisions. So if you put like a decision to go back for some reason in there, like
Mm.
she's like running away, but then really
Ooh.
needs to, there's some reason that she has to go back, or she realizes like she can't run because I don't know. It's hard not knowing like the specifics, but like having some reason why running away won't work.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. I actually, that's interesting you say that because her position as a ruler in her country is that she runs away, somebody's going to have to replace her. So, I mean, that may in and of itself be reason enough to come back,
Yeah, that
depending on
that
who it
is
is that
true.
replaces her.
And like, is this set in like a modern time or like a historical time or like a fantasy medieval-y time or
Yeah, sort of fantasy time frame. Yeah.
okay. So I was just trying to think if like maybe as she's running away, some sort of word gets to her that somebody else is like trying to take over the kingdom
Mm,
or something, and she's got to go back and stop them or something. I don't know.
I like that. Make some notes here.
Yeah, no worries.
I like that. Yeah, so just trying to get that motivation going.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the middle of a lot of different things right now. Story wise, like we've gone from audiobook to audiobook, like reading different things and writing things for work and writing things here and like finishing off a story that I was sending periodically to my friend and like just like all the things at once. And so I have like different stories buzzing through my head. I'm sure some elements of the things that I've been reading are probably going to come into this somehow. But
Oh, of course. That always happens. But, that's fine.
yeah, as long
I
as
feel
it's a
like
good.
all stories in some way are recycled from each other.
Yeah, like prior to
There's only so
NaNoWriMo.
many there's only so many like story elements that can exist.
That's true. A lot of the work that I was working on prior to NaNoWriMo has kind of weaseled its way into this, like personality types of some of the characters, because I was already
Mm,
like very invested in that story. So I just like slowly morphed into working on the story, and a lot of things feel similar. But I think
yeah.
that's where draft two comes in. You revise it; it sounds a lot
Oh, for sure.
more original in that round. Right now, it's just like dumping ideas on paper that I liked when read elsewhere and finding ways to combine them.
Mhm. I think
Plus
your
main character.
video's frozen. I don't know.
Uh-uh. Let's try something real quick. Okay, reset the camera. Maybe?
I think it's still the same.
Alright, I'm gonna turn off the camera for a moment. Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. Let me just leave it long enough to get past the video glitch.
Yeah. I don't know.
Turn some other
I don't
things
know
off.
what happened.
Need.
I wonder if it's your connection or something.
Yeah, we have like the worst internet here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can hear you okay, so.
I can just be a frozen face with a
Yes.
voice.
If you want on the next sprint, you can like leave the stream and come back and see if it like resets it.
Yeah, that might work.
Okay, so I don't think I actually updated my word count that sprint, so let me do that real quick and see where I'm even at. See, I'm at 24,718. 24,718. And that was at home. My laptop. Okay, so that was 337 words that last sprint. So I'm currently at 715 for the day.
Ooh.
Still a long way to go.
Okay.
Oh, good, your video's working again.
Okay. Yay. I've been making an Instagram board, like, well, no, not Pinterest board. It's the Instagram equivalent of a Pinterest board of
Oh, gotcha.
different writing inspo. I've been following different writing things with ideas, and I stumbled across something called 50 Ways to Kill Your Characters. I was like, oh, this is dark and also fun. It's like,
Nice.
please have some caution when consuming this post. This is a resource for fiction writers. They had to state that.
Yeah, right. It's like I've seen a lot of posts where it's just like, I promise FBI I'm searching this for a book, not because it's, something bad.
I don't know if you can see here, but oh dear, it's very bright. Anyway, some of the words have little lines through them, so that if you're scanning through it on with a scanning device, I guess it won't catch those as like, oh, she's talking about poison. She's
Oh,
talking about
yeah.
battle wounds, like they're across there. But I just thought it was kind of
Right.
interesting.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
Literally poisonous plant.
Wow. I'm terrible at like killing characters. I'm great at having characters who let's see the best way to put this. People who die before the story takes place.
Yeah.
But I'm terrible at like actually having somebody die. I'm like, I'm too tender-hearted. I don't want to kill the person.
And like it's like with the classic situation with Darth Maul, it gets cut in half with a lightsaber. Oh well, we can bring him back. We could just like replace him with cybernetic legs. It'll be okay. Like I have a hard
Yeah.
time with that.
I've had several stories now where it's just like, okay, I could throw in a death here and it would be really interesting. But also, that would be really mean and I don't want to.
I
Hmm.
actually used to try when I was younger, and this is why I don't try it as much anymore. I used to try when I write stories to do that, but I undermined my own authority on the matter a couple of times by bringing somebody back. Like, actually, they surprisingly survived. The doctors found them in time, and they were able to revive them. Like, I did that enough times that the people I shared my stories with didn't believe me anymore when I made a character die, because they're like, yeah, they're coming back. So
Yeah.
I would have
It's
to
kind of like when you're
really
watching a
work on
movie and you're
keeping.
like, I didn't see the body. They're not dead.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a cool mug.
Mm.
Ooh.
That was a gift to me before I moved here from a old coworker. It was very sweet of her. I'd been looking at it in the store for days. We'd been like walking past it on the shelf, and she saw me eyeing it every day, and then she gave it to me as a going away present.
Oh, I
So
don't have
that's
it
my
in, well, I
NaNoWriMo
have
mug.
in the room right now, but there's a picture of
Ooh,
it. My friend
very
sent
nice.
this here.
So you ordered that one?
My friend
Or
Megan Kraus sent it to me.
oh, it's very sweet.
Yeah.
I so far this year have gotten the participant shirt.
Ooh, that is
which
cool.
I'm a big fan of. It has a cat on it.
Aw.
I don't know if you can see it. Where's the cat?
Oh yeah, I see it. It's so cute.
I'll pull it
Oh,
up.
that's awesome.
Very. And then now I have to also just win and then get the winner shirt.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've been talking for a while. We should probably get into another sprint.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Get some words written. So I will set this up again.
There's going to be a lot of visiting of placeholder country because I don't have a name yet. So a lot of
Oh.
stock images and stuff. I'll figure it
Ah.
out. I have to go
Yeah.
through search replace later and be like, okay, every time I said placeholder country, we now have a name.
Yeah. Although now think about it. You're going to be having your words. Maybe don't do that until after November because
Okay. I've just been
placeholder
saying
country is two
country so far.
words.
Yeah, I've just been saying
Unless you come
country
up
so
with
far.
like a multiple word country name. She'd be like, the country that was once such and such, but is now this. And just say that, call it that every single time.
The much esteemed land of blank,
Yes.
the distant
Oh,
shores of.
yeah. Or like, and then every time you introduce somebody, always have like so and so, son of so and so,
Yes.
or of whatever country they're from.
Go for those two-part names without the hyphen.
Yeah. Okay, let's get the timer back up.
Stick to
And
the
we will
teapot.
start in 3, 2, 1, and go. And time is up.
Word count, but it was basically from where I left off tomorrow. I added roughly, or left off yesterday.
I figured that's what you meant. Time traveler now.
Yeah. What is this? Sci-fi? I think I put down at least a solid 900 words
Nice.
over the course of this and like the tail end of the other one.
Right. I got. Oops, I just left that page. 490 word. 491 words, which puts me at 25,209. I'm officially over halfway. And now I just need 461 more words for tonight. Whew.
Nice.
All right. Whoops. Logged all these books I just read for the readathon I'm in. Nice. Just talked at the camera for an hour. So what's your video about? Seems like it's gonna be a long one. Although I'll say I'm pretty bad at making really long videos out of videos that should not be that long. So I just tend to take a long time to say what I'm trying to say, and then it ends up making everything longer. So now trying to muster up the energy to clean. Only 330 words to go for you. Nice. And yes, great job. Thank you. And thank you. Ooh. Which means I can officially schedule myself a massage because that's my reward for 25K.
Nice.
I don't know where I'm going yet. Somewhere cheap, probably. But, you know, anywhere is better than not getting a massage.
That's true.
Books that you physically own that could fulfill the prompts for a readathon. I see.
Ooh,
Very interesting.
that sounds really cool.
See, I always like the idea of reading a whole bunch of books. And then I tend to just read in like binges where I'll read a whole bunch of books at once and then I'll forget that books exist for like 4 months.
Oh,
But then
yeah,
I'll get back into it and be obsessive about another series or something. So.
that's kind of where I am right now. Yeah, I'll go through phases where I'll listen to tons of audiobooks and just like be crushing the reading goals, and then it will be music nonstop for a long time, and then it will be like a YouTube video obsession. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so deep into one topic that I know everything about it, and then I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to touch this topic again.
Yeah, same. Like for a while, I had gotten into this like it started with true crime podcast type stuff, and then that edged into um watching people's podcasts about having escaped really weird cults. And then now that's like all my recommended is just like, oh, this person has left XYZ cult and talked about it. And then it's just like, okay, click.
I used to binge watch the Escaping Polygamy show.
Oh, yes, 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 same. It was some of those same people that were on the podcast. It's called Cults to Consciousness.
Oh,
Um, and so they had a lot of people from the Kingston family that had escaped on the show to kind of talk about their experiences with it.
that's cool.
And they even, I think, had one of the, might have been one of the sons of Warren Jeffs from the FLDS group. But yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, good, you know the channel? Yeah, it's really interesting. There's a lot of like crazy stuff that's out there that like extreme stuff going on.
Yeah.
and really interesting to kind of watch how the psychology of it works and like how the brainwashing happens just from how you're raised in it and like don't know any better and that's just what life is. And then
Yeah.
trying to imagine like how as an adult not in that situation do you get pulled into something like that? Like the most recent one that I watched was about Scientology, which it's like knowing anything about Scientology, it is real bizarre and out there. But it makes sense for people coming into it because it doesn't sort of display itself as a religion as much as like, oh, it's self-help and like self-actualization and like here's goals that you can set and like here's how to be like a better, more ethical person. And it's
Mhm.
just these like classes that you sign up for. And then by the time you're like deep into all the classes, you've basically sold your soul to them and they are just bleeding you of all of your money. And then they start getting into all of this stuff like how you're actually an alien and you've lost or some alien has like made you lose your memory and you don't remember having lived millions of lives before and you just coming back to earth over and over again to relive life differently and like I feel like people probably aren't going to just step into Scientology being like, "Oh yes, I want to join the alien religion." But like it makes sense how they like get you in the beginning, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's
It's a-
hard to picture, especially in like polygamous cults where it's, I mean, to me from the outside, really obvious how much abuse there is in that sort of situation and like
yeah.
how somebody can join that from the outside. Just very interesting to me.
Yeah. In other topics, so you're talking about books too. In the initial NaNoWriMo launch, when we were doing this, guess whether the book is real or
Oh yeah.
just made up. One of the books that was recommended, Things Not Seen. I finally read that actually, and
Oh
it is
yeah?
awesome. I love that book.
Awesome. You should like send me a link or something to it because I don't actually have
Oh,
that written down anywhere.
yeah. Let's see.
What was that one, the synopsis about?
This is the one where the boy goes invisible. Like he can't see himself, nobody else can see him, but he befriends a blind girl.
Oh yeah, that was one of Steven's, I think, that he had picked.
Yeah. Are you on? You're probably on Goodreads. I don't know if I'm friends with you on Goodreads.
I feel like I have been before, but I don't really use it, so.
Okay. Of course, so I've also all these. I'm in too many challenges at once. Like I'm in the 2023 reading challenge, and I set the very ambitious goal at the start of the year to read 100 books, and I have read 80 this year.
Oh man.
All of them audiobooks. Maybe like one or two physical books, but
Wow.
it's a scary number of books. But I found out that if I'm commuting, I can listen to something, and then I've worked my way up to listening to books on 1.5 speed, so I get through them faster. And I
Yeah, there
found
you
some
go.
that are a little shorter too. So
So you're gonna be able to fit 20 more books in before the end of the year?
I hope so. I'm probably going to count some other books that are a little shorter too, though. Like just out of reasonableness to myself. Like most of the audiobooks work out to be on average about 8 hours long if read at the normal speed, but I speed them up, so they probably work out to be more like six.
Mm-hmm.
And there were one or two books that were recommended to me as a child, but I didn't have as much access to digital resources for listening at the time. Like I mostly read physical books from the library, and they didn't always have good audio resources at the library, but that's definitely improved since then. So I'm going back and like reading some books that I probably should have read as a kid, but just never made the reading list for one reason or another. So those are going to be a lot shorter, and it will really fill in those 20 books
Mm.
quickly because they're like chapter books.
Yeah.
Nobody said it had to be a certain length to meet
That's
my goal.
true. It just said books.
Yep, it did. I
Yeah, I
also
feel like I have all of these books that are fairly new, like books that I've never read. And on my TBR shelf right now is all books that I've read before, but that I just want to read again.
I'm also currently obsessed with anything Tangled, especially like
Uh,
Tangled the series because I'm obsessed with the animated show. And I've been collecting all of these books every time I go to Half Price Books. And some of them are more like this is just an activity book that I'm gonna leave pristine because I like the characters and I'm too old for the activities, but I just like to collect them. But there's a few
I'm too
books that
old
are
for
actually
activities.
yeah. And too old for those specific activities. They're little things like draw a picture of your family, and I have a camera for taking pictures of my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think of the books that I still have to read. I know I recently got a few like Agatha Christie ones.
Ooh.
I've got some Charles Dickens that I haven't read. Um, I just got uh last year, was it just last fall?
That's fun.
Yes, last fall. I got a whole box set of the Lord of the Rings books,
Ooh.
along with like Silmarillion and The Hobbit, and then like all of the other companion books. So in total, it's 11 books,
Ooh.
and I have not touched them yet. Um, I also really need to go through the Inheritance series again with like Aragon and those ones, especially since the fifth book is coming out soon.
Ooh.
And let's see. I feel like that's for the most part what I've got. The rest is just like I've started collecting all of the books that I used to love in high school because that was when I was the most excited about reading. I would go in to the library at lunch and find like 5 books and then check them out and then read them all at home and let's be honest, also in class, and then turn them all in the next day and get like 5 more books. So I was just like reading so much back then, and that's where I got a lot of this series that I really like today. Like um the book the series currently on my shelf is this series that I just got for a gift recently. And the first book I'm gonna say is like Girl Barely 15 uh flirting for England or something like that. I don't know. It's just like some girl in England and like her daily life. But I just remember really enjoying that series and I have not touched it since high school, so I don't even remember what happens in it. But trying to reignite that reading passion.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm gonna lay down, go to bed early. Yeah, feel better, get some rest, drink lots of fluids. All right. Are we ready for another sprint?
Let's do it.
Right. Let me get this started. It like removes my settings, takes forever to load. Okay. And we will be sprinting in 3, 2, 1. And time is up.
Yay.
I got my word count.
Woo, same.
Nice. I'm at 1671 for the day and 25,674 total.
Nice.
And you also hit your goal. Nice. That was the sprint of all sprints. Here's my reward.
Woo. Okay, just updating that. And yay! It's very satisfying to get not just one badge, but 2 badges on the
Oh yeah.
NaNoWriMo.
I just realized I haven't looked at your page since I first added you.
Oh yeah, I don't know if it's updated yet. Refresh the page here.
Yay! 25K!
Yeah, I realized.
So you've kept your streak going too, so you haven't missed a single day yet?
Yeah, so far, although there were 1 or 2 days when I didn't log 1,667 in that actual day, like I would get ahead a couple of days beforehand. So I don't know if I'll get the badge for that exact amount every day, but yeah.
Gotcha. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And definitely on track to do well. I'm not going to let my guard down at any point because a couple years ago I got to 49,000 and I didn't finish it. So it's a reminder to be not let down.
Yeah. It's like I've gotten into this almost false sense of security where I was just like, oh yeah, I've done every day so far. It's fine. I look at my graph and it's like a straight line right up that follows the goal line, and it's even a little bit higher even because I make a little bit extra words, but then I still have to write the 1667, so and then I do a little bit more than that, so it's barely getting higher and higher. But then all it takes is missing one day and I completely run out of steam and I'll never write again. So I'm just I gotta keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good night. Thank you for joining. Yes, we do still have 15 more days. Words. I was going somewhere with this. Something about word count.
Word count.
Selected graph, maybe?
Words, graph,
Badges.
badges.
If I look at my stats again. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember what it was. It was just because I want to say it was yesterday. Yesterday or the day before, I had procrastinated pretty much all day from writing. And I'd gotten a couple hundred words in, and I had this false sense of security because I was like, I've gotten my words in every day. It generally takes me an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours if I'm dinking around in between sprints. It might take me a little while, but usually within an hour and a half to 2 hours, I'll get all my words in. And I've already gotten some words done today. I have 300 words written, so I'll be fine. And then it was 10 o'clock. And I'm furiously writing. And I finished my words at 11:30. It's half an hour and I would have lost that badge. and that I would have lost all of my willpower to do the rest of the month because like I'm so focused. Like that's what's keeping me going is that I want to win all of the badges. If I win
Mm-hmm.
all but one of the badges, I don't even care about winning anymore. I will be mad.
It's
It
that
will
sense of
ruin
completion,
it.
perfectionism.
Yep. So I've gotta win. Gotta win the badges. Beat a
Win all.
badge gremlin. Or badge goblin is what I meant. What even what's the difference between a gremlin and a goblin? I don't even know.
Yeah, not sure which is scarier.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is I had a nightmare that when I was like 10 that somebody I knew got killed by a goblin. I I don't know. It
I
was
usually have dreams where people get killed. That must be very unnerving.
well, that was right after that person had actually just died, but in like a snowboarding accident. And so my subconscious decided that it wasn't a snowboarding accident, it was a goblin.
Makes sense.
Um, so it was sad. I had been friends with him in like kindergarten, but I honestly really hadn't seen him in years, so I didn't really know him that well. It was just kind of like my mom had heard the news from the group of parents of whoever had been in that class that he had died. But yeah, that was a really interesting dream. That was the same dream where there's a appearance from Spider-Man who showed up to play because he was actually a rock star and not a superhero. That's who Spider-Man is, just so in case you were curious about, who is Spider-Man? Yeah, he's a rock star. Um, he came to play Turkey on the Straw on his electric guitar, and after his riveting show, he was rather than signing autographs because for some reason he was not able to sign autographs. He was like ripping off pieces of his glove and like handing it out to us as souvenirs.
That's wonderful.
I've been having weird dreams since way back.
Yeah. Weird dreams are the best. It's been a while since I've had any particularly weird dreams, but when I have dreams, there is no in between. It's either weird or I don't have dreams. So,
Yeah, kind of the same. And lately, I feel like I haven't remembered my dreams lately just because it's like I'm so exhausted by the end of the day and like I don't even know how deep of sleep I'm even getting. But like when I when we were at the feast in Tennessee, when I like had been like really active all day and was just exhausted and like slept really well on a really comfortable bed, I was having weird dreams every single night. It was just like, so this is what sleep is like. I don't remember them now, but they were weird.
it's fun
I feel
though.
like, yeah. I remember one part of one was that I was in some class in like a college, but it's like I wasn't a college student, I was just a community member, but for some reason I had to attend this class. And the thing about it was on a in a different room every day and you had to like figure out where the classroom was. And so I was like always showing up late because I was on the wrong floor and I had to like wait for the elevator and I'm like trying to figure out what floor this dumb class is in.
A lot of my nightmarish or weird dreams have to do with work, just because like my brain will take the slightest thing that's uncomfortable, like a slight falling out with my boss, no matter how light or inconsequential, and it'll blow it out of proportion. I remember having a dream where I was failing at life, and then I had to go back and work at Staples again, and I had been replaced by another girl named Heidi that was just like me but had blonde hair. And so I had to do my least favorite job because she had the job that I used to do and she was better at it. And they were very nice to her and said how good she was doing. And
Oh no.
I've been
That's so
completely
sad.
spent at my old job.
I had a dream once back when I was working retail around inventory time where they brought out like so the way that they do stock is they have these like they call them Hummers and it's like these rolling shelves that they'll load up from the truck and then bring out onto the floor and like roll it out and put it all away. Well, in my dream, I guess I somehow conflated that with being like a bookshelf. And so like we don't even sell books at Ross. It was just like some planners and stuff is the closest we ever got to really books. But in my dream, it was like a used bookstore and they bring me out a Hummer full of books facing all different directions, stacked, all like binding in so you can't see what they are, and like all stacked around every which way. And I was tasked with alphabetizing the books.
Ooh.
Only I could not empty the shelf and then put them all back on. I had to like switch them in place until they were
Oh.
alphabetized.
Oh, that would be such a pain.
It would be horrible. And I was so stressed all night until I woke up and I'm like, oh, good thing I don't have to do that. I just have to go do inventory.
Much better. You
Right.
know it's bad when it takes a bad dream to make your job seem really great.
Right. And then so back home where when I used to work at Ross, it was right next door to a Joann's Fabrics. And I was up for a promotion at the time to be a manager, and I kind of had been like my managers had been sort of preparing me for the possibility that I'd be moving up because we couldn't get promoted unless one of the positions opened up, and there was somebody who was not a great manager and was very likely going to be leaving us. And so nobody could like outright say that they were going to fire her, but they were sort of preparing me for the possibility of being in management someday, maybe soon. And then I had this dream that I had been offered the promotion, and they're like, congratulations, you got the job. And here's your like job description and what you'll be doing and your like daily duties. And so they hand me this piece of paper, which basically says that my new job duty is go next door and work at Joann's with no training. I
Your
had to
job
go
is
over
work
there.
for us, you're not working for us.
Yes. And so I like go next door. They have no idea why I'm there. And I'm just like, well, I'm here to work and I have to just figure it out.
Always fun. One of my weirdest dreams is where I worked for a king in his ice palace, and the floor was like made of squares of ice, like tiles of ice that could be removed, usually just by lowering them into the water. But if you offended the king in any way, the tile under which you were standing would disappear, and you would fall
Oh,
into the water to be eaten by sharks.
oh no.
And my other coworkers that I was working with, like all of us were maids, they caught on to the fact that the king really did not like me and I was about to be fed to the sharks. And they tried to warn me, but me being me, thinking that I could convince the king that I was not in the wrong, that I was competent or whatever, decided to risk it anyway. And I did fall into the water, and the rest of my dream until I woke up was just trying to not drown.
Oh yeah. I had so many dreams where it's either like drowning or I've been poisoned or like stabbed or something where I'm like running away from bad guys and like trying to survive. But then inevitably I lose track of the plot and I forget that I was supposed to be dying. And then at some point I remember again, I'm like, oh yeah, wasn't I poisoned? Huh, guess I didn't die.
I remember being mummified in one dream. Like, the dream started where I had already been mummified. And I thought, like, apparently they thought I was dead for one reason or another. And I kind of came to when I was mummified and I was floating down the river in a barge, like some sort of funeral barge. I was like, I should probably continue to pretend to be dead, at least until I'm out of sight, because A, I don't want to panic anyone, and B, if my enemies, I'm assuming it was my enemies that mummified me alive, find out, they're just gonna try to kill me in some other way. So I was like waiting till I was out of sight to break out of the mummy that I was in.
Oh man. uh,
Always fun.
yes. Apparently, Steven was telling me I can be expecting more weird dreams from him because for his stream, he's streaming tonight. He's been playing Shining Force, and I guess that involves a lot of like off camera grinding to try to get all of his characters up to certain levels and stuff. And it's been really annoying him, but he's got to like play for hours to get them all up to the level that they need to be before he starts stream. And last time he did that was the precursor to his interesting sleep talking episode when I tried to wake him up. Starting with I had woken him up to oh, which one was it? There was a couple of instances. The first one was I had asked him, "Is this your first alarm?" Or no, is was 10 o'clock your last alarm? Because he like sets alarms in a series. So I try to make sure that he's up by the last alarm so that he's not like going back to sleep. And he answers, I prefer the beta. It's like, okay. And then like 5 minutes later, I'm going back and I'm like, okay, you need to get up. You got to get out of bed and go to work. And he says, I'm collecting all the items in Shining Force 2. And in his dream state, he had convinced himself that I had tasked him with this. Like, I was expecting him to find and collect all of these items. And he was really frustrated that I was rushing him. And he's just like, what are you? I'm doing what you said. And then after that, there's another day when I still hadn't started work yet from my surgery recovery. And so he gets up to go turn his alarm clock off, walks past his alarm. It's still going off. And he's just standing at our closet door, just opening it and closing it and like looking at it and examining it. Kind of has like a frown on his face. And then he goes back, turns the alarm off, and gets back in bed. And so I asked him, what were you doing over there? He's like, turning my alarm off. I'm like, well, no, before that, when you went over to the closet. And he's like, just checking for defense. I'm like, what? And then a bit later, he had another alarm go off. He stands up, gets halfway to the alarm clock, and sits there looking around. And he goes, gets back in bed and just ignores the alarm. And then it was like several seconds later that he realized it was still going off and he had to get up and turn it off. So it's been entertaining, although difficult to get him to wake up for work.
Yeah, that's always kind of worried me, the concept of maybe saying something in one's sleep that one gets teased for later on. Like,
See, when I talk in my sleep, it's not very often, but it's not usually real words. I just make syllables that sound like maybe they could be words, but they don't mean anything. Except for one time, Stephen said that I, in the middle of the night, said, "Wow." But I never used to before we got married because, like, I had a sleep tracker app on my phone and it would measure sounds and everything. I had the premium version. So if I would talk in my sleep, it would record it and I could actually watch it the next day. But I never
ooh,
did.
movie
Like the
time.
only times that it registered that I had been talking or something was like a groan or something because I was turning over in my sleep and, chronic pain and tossing and turning and stuff. Apparently you groan in your sleep. But yeah, I never talked. I think it's just now that I'm like conscious in a way that there's somebody else there, my like brain is trying to like have a conversation with him even though I'm
Yeah,
asleep.
makes sense though.
All right. Well, I guess it looks like most people in the chat have kind of ducked out at this point. And
Oh,
I'm
here is an
done
art
writing for the
I
day.
did.
What's that?
And here is an art that I did of like
Ooh.
after like Tangled, but later, like after the series once they're married.
Oh, cute. I like that.
And it's gonna be a baby.
Very nice.
And this is why I have no free time because I just do more and more creative things. So my free time.
Oh, of course. My computer is not wanting me to look at this. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's. Oops. Let me stop screen. There we go. I think might be it for tonight. It's already 11.
Ooh, yeah, it is. It is late.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about streaming again later, maybe next week, because we're already kind of getting late into this week, but I don't know when yet, but I'll be putting it on the YouTube playlist, which let me put that link in the chat because I have been living off of this website or not website, whatever, this spreadsheet for days. Like this is where I spend my entire day. Even like when I'm working, I'll use sprints to try to get work done faster.
Ooh.
But yeah, if I end up writing again, or obviously if I end up writing again, if I end up streaming again, I will try to have that on the schedule at least a day or two in advance.
Yay!
But
Well,
thank you
thank
for
you.
streaming.
Thank you.
Okay. To anyone who's still watching, looks like we've got 3 people maybe just lurking. But goodbye.